Book Buzz, HarperCollins Book Buzz. Check it out. Do-do-do, Book Buzz, HarperCollins Book Buzz. Brought to you by Library Love Fest.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
I'm Lainey Mays, and I work for HarperCollins Library Love Fest team, which is the library marketing department. And I'm joined by my colleague, Grace Caternolo.
Hi.
We are missing our third, but Virginia sends her best wishes. You get us today. So I think we'll start off with just like some winter wishes, because we're going to be in and out a little this next month, couple weeks before the new year, and we have lots of fun things planned for you. More information to come. Keep following our social, but we're deep in the depths of some planning.
Yeah, we've been having a lot of brainstorms, a lot of funny Google Docs. So
If you have any ideas of things you want to see, what works or what doesn't work, let us know. We definitely want to hear more from you. And I hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving. Hey, Casey Davis, I see you in there. I hope everybody had some good food. Let us know what your favorite side is. Grace, do you have a favorite side?
I love mashed potatoes and gravy. If it doesn't have the gravy, it's not as good. I can't lie.
I have to say I love any kind of potato, but the gravy does. I would probably eat it without the gravy, but the gravy is good.
Yeah, I would also love to hear if anybody has like fun like family traditions for Thanksgiving. I don't have anything like unique that my family does, but I always like to hear what people are up to.
Yeah. Casey Davis put pie. I think it's pies. I had enough for a second pecan pie, and so I have one of those in my fridge, and I'm very excited.
Ooh, Pam said wild rice. I love wild rice. That's a good one.
Rice. Okay, well, now I'm just gonna be hungry. Maybe it's the wrong question to ask. Oh, favorite side is a tie: mashed potatoes and gravy or macaroni and cheese.
I had mac and cheese for lunch. It was Trader Joe's, but
as we've established, Trader Joe's mac and cheese is elite.
The best microwave one for sure.
Yeah, I think so. I would agree with that. Sometimes it's like you go through, like, I'll make it from scratch, and I'm like, honestly, Kraft would do. Like, I love mac and cheese.
I totally agree. Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you for joining us. Everybody's kind of coming in. Continue telling us sides. We'd still like to know. And maybe we will start off with some announcements. Like I said, we're still coming up with a few things and ideas for January, but that will all be gone over soon enough. But we have a link for our next world famous book buzz. We're doing one with Library Journal. It was at our booth at Day of Dialogue, so you've probably already seen it, but if you haven't, sign up for it. I'm going to put it in all the chats because you'll get reminders for that. It's on the 14th of February, so Valentine's Day you can spend with us, and we're going to have, our usual, kind of like we do at ALA or like midwinter, like so many titles, new things you never heard of, roundups of big books you need to know about, celebrity memoirs. We were going through the list and we were like, they're going to be psyched. So be sure to sign up, because I want to, and information will change in there, but this is kind of a preliminary, like really early link, because we want to make sure everybody can get their, sign up, and you'll get notifications and stuff like that. So I'm putting the event in all of the chats, and I don't know if there's anyone on Zoom, so we also do this on Zoom. So if you have colleagues who don't do Facebook, you can always go on the Zoom link. So sign up. It's gonna be fun. I'm really excited.
It'll be my first one. I'm pumped.
Yeah, it's kind of, it's not scary, but it's like a lot of times, like you have to get your time just right because we have so many good books.
Absolutely.
So you're just like, oh, am I gonna get it all in?
I feel like you and Virginia are pros at that though. It'll be good.
Oh, it takes a lot of practice.
Yeah.
I still don't always hit the mark, but it's also hard when you really enjoy a book because you're like, it's hard to take a minute and tell you about a book that I just want to talk to everyone about.
Yeah, I can't shut up sometimes, and then I'm like, yeah.
Oh, we have some more sides. Corn, some kind of corn pudding, corn, and cheese. Yes, please. Oh, okay. Again, gonna make me hungry. Don't know why I'm doing this. Let's see. So that's one announcement we wanted to make sure you have. Send it to all your colleagues. Anyone can join. It's a free webinar. Library Journal is going to host it, so you'll probably see it in some of their email blasts in the new year. We're still getting things together for it, but like I said, that link will be the same. And spread it far and wide. We want a lot of people to come, and we are going to have some fun antics, I'm sure. We usually have Cher playing in the background. Maybe Cher will be talked about in this. You never know. As with us, it's probably a pretty good bet that Cher's going to come up. So let's see. What else do we have to tell them about?
Ooh, our upcoming Facebook Live in December.
That one's going to be great. Do you want us to tell them a little bit about it? I'll put the links.
Yeah. So we're going to be hosting Alvin Hall, the author of Driving the Green Book, along with his editor, Biz Mitchell. And I'm really excited for this conversation. I think this book is super important. And we're going to be showing you a little teaser video. So I'll let it speak for itself.
Yeah. Okay. I'm putting the link in here, and then I'm pulling up the video. I don't remember the new one.
And that's going to be a different day than our usual day. So you're watching us on a Tuesday right now. That's going to be on Thursday, December 8th at 2 p.m.
Yeah, that's a good note. I'm glad you remembered to say it. Thank you. So it's a little different. Our events this month are going to be a little off. We have Thursday that for Alvin next week, not Tuesday. So we won't be on Tuesday. And then we probably, just because of the holidays, I don't know that we'll be back before the new year. So just make sure to follow our Facebook page or, get our email blast from our website so you know when we're going to be live. But this is the next one, next Thursday. Okay, here is a little clip of a little teaser for Driving the Green Book. We're not going to play all of it, maybe just a minute or two so you get a feel for Alvin. He's on a road trip with other people, but they're kind of discussing the Green Book, and like Grace said, speak for itself.
Do Americans know the Green Book? Do they know what it represents? How many lives did it potentially save? And most importantly, do we still need a Green Book today? The answers to these questions can be discovered on the road. Hence, the necessity of a journey driving the Green Book. You're going to experience what I call the myth of the American highway, which is something you may not be familiar with. When I grew up, there were all these ads on television. See the USA in your Chevrolet, right? The idea that the road trip meant freedom. You could go out and drive the roads and see America. But that wasn't true for African Americans during that period of time because of laws in different states called Jim Crow laws, and because of pervasive segregation, you couldn't just experience the beauty and the freedom of the American roadway. There was a whole difference about traveling then compared to today.
Vacation without aggravation. I think that tagline really stood out for me. When I first heard of the Green Book, I thought, oh my gosh, like the green is like a green light, like that's where you can actually go. But as I've been looking through the book, I realized that it was actually just named after Victor H. Green. So that was something that was super duper new to me. But I think it fits both bills. Like it's a green book, it's where you can go, and it's also named after Victor Green.
I love that. Do you feel there's a need for a green book today when you travel? I like the fact that both of you went, That's telling in of itself.
I mean, if they had a green book now, it would be on Twitter. If you like Black Twitter's green book, and if you like places you can go to, like it is in here, places you go to have fun, but also, yeah, it's like avoid this place. Yeah.
I think a guide of the sort would definitely still be useful because like discrimination and this type of at least quality of service from individual to individual is still very pervasive and everyone still isn't treated equally, whether that's like at a restaurant or at a bar, sometimes even like at hospitals. So I think it's definitely like something that would be worthwhile and specifically maybe on like Twitter.
Yeah, so I mean, that's just like a small clip, and it's, not even about the book itself, just on this journey to tell the story about the Green Book. But I think it gives you a good glimpse into the thoughtfulness and the research that went into this book from Alvin. And I think he is going to be a wonderful resource to have on. We have some photos we're going to show. We have a lot of things, but the eGalley is up. So you can go ahead and dive into it if you want to, just so you have more information for Alvin. If you have specific questions, it's going to be there. So you can ask him. I'm excited about this one.
Me too. We did get some questions in the chat. Vicky wants to know if we're attending LLX in January.
We are not this year. We will not be at LX, but we will be there with you in spirit. So if there's anything we can do or any books that you have questions about that you see around or I don't know, anything we can help you with in our absence, let us know. The virtual event, we will be I know at ALA last year we did in person and our virtual buzz through Library Journal. So that's a good question, Vicky. We will not be live. We will not have our usual World Famous Book Buzz. It'll be only virtual. So everybody can join. It will not be in the morning like our usual one. It will be later in the day. So you don't have to worry about, West Coast, East Coast missing out. We can all be there together. It will be recorded. So even if you're at LLX, the week before, we kind of tried to do it at a time where everybody was back and they could come back from the holidays, back from LLX, but it's recorded. So if you miss it or if you want to share it with colleagues after the fact, that's great. It's going to be recorded for you, but no live in-person event, only virtual. We will miss you, but we're excited to hear how LLX goes. It's the first time there. I will miss going to New Orleans though. I do love going to New Orleans.
I've never been. I'm bummed.
Maybe
another time.
Maybe around, yeah. Okay. So be sure to sign up for Alvin's event. I put that in the chat. You'll get, anything you need. The links for the eGalleys are there as well. And in this, the information for this event that we're on right now, it's there too. Okay.
We did get another question. Nicole wants to know what books we're going to be gifting people this year for the holidays. Great question. Reminds me that I should probably start thinking about this more because it is fastly approaching.
They said, I'm making sure that everyone that has not read Remarkably Bright Creatures gets a copy. Thank you. That book is amazing. I think that goes on. I have like a handful of books that from the past few years that's like, no matter who you are, if you like to read, I would hand that to you. That's one of those books.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gifting. Well, it's funny because my mom was watching one of our Facebook Lives and she said that she would really like to read Alicia Rye's Partners in Crime that just came out in October. So that's a good gift for the romance
she's not
community.
Watching.
No, she already has it.
Oh, good.
But she was like, that would be a great gift. And I was like, we can make that happen. And then, so that's a brand new start of the series. So if you're a romance fan, Alicia Rye is amazing. And that's a good introduction if you haven't read her past stuff. But the good news is once you read it, you have a whole big list to go back to and enjoy. Three books came out prior to her Modern Love series. Let's see. I am excited to tell my friends about All That's Left Unsaid by Tracy Lian. That book was really special. I think beautiful. It's a book that I think about often. I was excited for it to be on sale to give to my like non-publishing friends who read stuff as it comes out. That came out in September. We had her on Facebook Live, so you can go back and watch that video if you're interested. Yeah, those are off the top of my head.
And now that I'm thinking about it, I know I'm going to be giving We All Want Impossible Things by Catherine Newman that came out earlier this month to my best friend. So I'm going to be giving that to her. It's like a sad friend gift, but also like it is such a beautiful book about friendship. And we also had her on the Facebook Live in was it early October, I want to say, or late September, one of those months. And then I think I'm going to give Small Game by Blair Braverman to my sister, because I think that she would really love that. She's very outdoorsy. And honestly, I feel like she could easily be on like Survivor or a show like that. I don't want to like give her a big head, but I think she'd be fine.
Well, you know that speaking of gifts, Small Game was amazing. That's her first novel. But we had Blair on for her book before that was more gifty. Just beautiful dogs. Like it was called Dogs on the Trail, and like beautiful book to give to someone. And also the knowledge that she has about these dogs and like dog sledding is fascinating. So you can go listen to that episode and see spreads from the book. But I could have stayed on for like 5 days asking her questions.
Yeah, I really, really enjoyed that read. And then Lainey told me about a book that was before my time at Harper yesterday, called Taxidermy Gone Wrong. And I think it'll be a perfect gift for my dad. I think he'd find that very funny. So yeah, I think those are the ones I've been thinking about.
People watching will remember Virginia really liked presenting that book because some of the taxidermy was quite wacky. But it's called Taxidermy Gone Wrong, and it came out last year, and it's just like very odd taxidermy animal. So that's out. You can give that to all of your taxidermy enthusiasts. That's funny. Yeah, yay for Blair Braverman. Celebrate Wisconsin authors. Thank you, Pam. And yeah, dog book was amazing, Jennifer. But thank you, Nicole. That was a very nice question about gift books. We could always talk about a book I want to give to somebody. Okay, so should we talk about some books?
Yeah, I think we're talking about a couple books that we've not talked about yet. So
yeah, and do we want to put that Edelweiss catalog there so they can follow along with us?
All right. Okay. So the first book I'm going to be talking to you all about today is called The Unexpected Gift of Trauma, The Path to Post-Traumatic Growth by Edith Shiro. And this is on sale February 21st. So Dr. Shiro is a licensed clinical psychologist who specializes in PTSD and post-traumatic growth, particularly focusing on immigration and acculturation issues. And a lot of her work is inspired by her grandparents who were refugees and Holocaust survivors. So I think this is like very near and dear to her. And she's a recognized expert in the field. So you're getting good information from someone trustworthy and knowledgeable. So she uses this 5-step framework. I like to think about it in like regards to like the stages of grief. And this is for what she calls post-traumatic growth. And the idea is that you're not just healing from trauma, but growing from it and gaining understanding. And the 5 stages are awareness, awakening, becoming, being, and transforming. And she uses really accessible language and makes it easy to understand how trauma can be life-changing in more of a positive light instead of just a negative one. And this is all based on really compelling research and case studies. I found this book to be really accessible. And I think it is a really important book because there are a lot of times when people don't realize they've experienced something traumatic. And at this point, 70% of Americans have had a traumatic event, and this number is only going up with living in a post-COVID world. And I think books like this really help people, especially people who don't have access to therapy or other resources. And I think it's also a really good read-alike for The Body Keeps a Score. So you can check out that eGalley on Netflix. Check out that eGalley on NetGalley or 805. So yeah, that is a book that I was excited about. I think it's really important and a really good read.
That cover is beautiful, and it reminds me of that quote, there's a crack in everything, that's how the light gets in.
Aw.
I think that that kind of is true to what you were just saying, like excellent what you were saying about just living in this world. We all know trauma or know someone who's dealing with trauma from this post-COVID world. So I think that'll be a really special book. I did want to shout out, the book Maybe You Should Talk to Someone.
Yeah.
That book, was HMH before us, so I didn't sell it, but when it moved over, when we bought HMH, we have a journal that just came out November 15th, so not very long ago, and it has like weekly sessions, so that may be a good gift as well. It just made me think of it when you were saying all that.
Yeah, I like this book a lot because it's not one of those like heavyweight trauma books. It's definitely more uplifting and great reframing. So yeah, that one is on sale February 21st. Okay. And our next book does not have a cover, so I'm just going to leave up.
Okay. Is there an author photo? I don't remember. Like if you do content and author.
Do we have an author?
Let's see.
We
There we
do.
go.
Okay.
Something. We have an author photo. Yeah, and I put in the chat what books, everyone write in what books you want to give as gifts, because I need some books on my own list, so let me know. So this is After Anne. This is Logan Steiner, the author's photo right here, but hopefully we'll have a cover for you soon. I've seen an iteration, and I think it's getting there. But I'm very excited about this one. I have only presented it once before at Cuyahoga last week, and I was reading it. I just didn't want it to end. Like I kept kind of like, oh, okay, that's enough. 20 pages. I'll come back to it because I just love living in this world. And I think, we've had books in the past like Marilla of Green Gables, that kind of is a kind of prequel of sorts, talking about Marilla of Anne of Green Gables. And we have another historical fiction that's going to set well alongside that one as well. So shout out for Marilla of Green Gables by Sarah McCoy, because we have another one to allow us to live in the Anne world again. So this is After Anne. It's historical fiction, but it's about Ellen Montgomery, the author of Anne of Green Gables. If you're a fan of Anne, like I am, you're going to love this. Like I said, I didn't want to leave. If you're not, it's fantastic historical fiction of a really interesting moment in history, because this woman was just like a force in Canadian literature, and she did so much for tourism and to like put this little island on the map. So but also like as a children's author, which she hated to just be called, but she was a children's author of these books at the beginning, and she never really got away from that. She got the fame she wanted, but it was a little different than what she thought it would be. And she dealt with a lot of trauma and a lot of depression, and it just came out recently that her family kept the information that she actually took her own life at the end. There was a note and they hid it. So no one had known this until a few years back. And I think that really brought a lot of confusion to some people, just because I think the books are so joyous to me, and they bring so much joy to me, that it's very sad to think that maybe it didn't bring a lot of joy to the author, or maybe she couldn't get out of that weight of writing this big character. And but she also had a lot of trauma in her life separate from her writing. But we see in this book, it kind of goes back and forth a few times in her, younger life and then older as a mother and a wife. She was a force. She lost her mother really young, and then she moved in with her grandmother to take care of her. And she always had dreams of creating beauty and of writing stories that just like couldn't be contained. She had to get them out on paper. And so she sees an old friend and realizes like, okay, I have to do this. I'm just going to commit. She writes the book. She always hears this voice of Anne, who was not really based on her cousin, but I think she, much like her cousin, who she was very close to, she got to kind of say things that maybe Maud wasn't able to. She maybe, not improper, but just like be able to speak without caring so much. And so I think she really appreciated that about her cousin. So she put that a lot into Anne, and Anne kind of speaks throughout the book in the background from quotes from the original books or things in Maud's life. And I think it kind of allows her to have this kind of inner child speaking through it all. But she finally gets Anne down, and a cute young creature moves to town. So, is she going to stay with her grandmother her whole life until her grandmother's life ends and maybe not even have success? Or she could possibly go the other route and be married, have kids, but she might not ever find success. So she really struggles with this. She doesn't know what she's going to do. She doesn't think she can have both. Either way, one's going to take a back seat. And along the way, she kind of tries to have them all. And I think a lot of trauma and loss in her life, compiled with the person she married not really continuing to be like they always were, compiles into her unhappiness. And it's really hard for her to get out of that. All along the way, trying to live up to this stature of Anne and write other things when all they really want is more Anne. There's some romance and a little self-made success story in there, historical nostalgia. But most importantly, understanding this woman who is just more than a beloved children's author, but a really full circle encompassing of her character and the contribution she made to Canadian literature and the world. She's so beloved by everybody. Yeah, it's beautiful, and it will tug your heartstrings. And like I said, even if you're not an Anne fan, then no worries. It's just really interesting as this force of a woman. Yeah. And that comes out in May of next year.
Yay. I'm excited to tell you all about this next one. Wait, I have mine switched up. Okay. I'm still excited to tell you about this one, but this is Cloud Girls. I just think it's a really beautiful cover, so I wanted to bring attention to this. And this is on sale April 25th. And this is by Lisa Harding, and her last novel, Bright Burning Things, was well loved by us. I know Lainey was a fan. And that was a Library Reads pick, an Indie Next pick, and I could go on and on and on about how praised that was. And I think you're gonna like this one just as much. So Cloud Girls follows two girls, Nico and Sammy, who are thrown together in a suburban brothel in Ireland. Nico is from a village in Moldova where she lives with her impoverished family, and they're really desperate, so they marry off their 13-year-old daughter, like in hopes, but no one's like really that confident in it. And Sammy, on the other hand, is a teenager who acts out in hopes of getting attention and protection that she lacks at home and in school. So she's very neglected. And she ends up in the hands of people who lead her to the same brothel. So this book sounds like very heavy, and it is like harrowing and heartbreaking, but it also is about this deep bond, this deep friendship that these two girls form. And it's brilliantly written and thought-provoking, and it was inspired by Harding's work with a campaign against sex trafficking. So I think it was really personal to her and well written because of that. And if you like hard-hitting novels that offer hope at the end, I think this is going to be a good book for you. And we're proud to publish this in the US, but it was an award-winning title in Ireland. So we're glad to bring it to a US audience. And this is also available now on NetGalley and Edelweiss. Lainey, do you have anything you want to add about this one?
Yeah, I mean, everyone listening probably remembers how much Virginia and I loved this author's book prior, Bright Burning Things. It was a book club pick, and it was, yeah, it, like Grace said, it was a huge hit, and Lisa was on Facebook Live. So if you want to go back and listen to that, she's fantastic. She was an actress, and she does the audiobook. It's beautiful. That was about a mother who was, an alcoholic and going to lose her son. And so you just feel this like suffocating weight of her trying to keep and hold on to everything in her life. And there's a lovely dog in it as well, which we love. That was an amazing book. And Lisa, she's just a fantastic storyteller. And I think I see in the chat, like everybody's like, oh, I gave Bright Burning Things as gifts. So I know we have big fans here, so they're going to want to pick up the next one by Lisa. Yeah.
Okay, and our next title is our new Patrick DeWitt.
Whoop, whoop. Let's see. Let me get back to the notes. Okay. The Librarianist by Patrick DeWitt. We're excited to have another one. This is the author of French Exit and Sisters and many more. French Exit was a national bestseller, and it got a lot of rave reviews and was a major motion picture starring Michelle Pfeiffer. And this new book, which I know we've shown this to you all before, because immediately we were like, okay, well, this is our jam, this is our people. But then then they showed us this cover, and we were like, you did it. You have you understood the assignment. You have done this. The cover shows you, it's just super library centric, and the main character, Bob Comet, is a librarian who's retired when the book opens, but it goes back in time and tells all of his tales at the library. But he's a bit of an introvert and a loner, and really finds his home in books, and books are what open the world up to him. It's set in Portland, Oregon. And it goes from a child's runaway adventure during the last days of the Second World War. And then it goes through, true love, both stolen away and won. And then the purpose and pride in his work as being a librarian through the years. So, like I said, it's kind of a sweeping tale of different times. But speaking of earlier, Remarkably Bright Creatures, I think this is perfect for that readership of books that have people finding renewed life and meaning in their golden years. It's gonna be perfect. So if anyone you're giving Remarkably Bright Creatures to is like, okay, what next? The Librarianist is next on the list. But I just think they knocked it out of the park with this cover, and that comes out in July.
Right. My apologies if you can hear the car alarm going off outside, but I'm hoping that my Zoom sound filter is pulling through. Okay, so this next one, we have a new book by Ann Patchett for you, and this was an edition that we just found out about recently ourselves, and this comes out August 1st.
I just want to tell them, sorry, quickly. We were at launch, and we had a surprise guest, and we were just like, okay, who is this on virtual teams? And then like Ann Patchett showed up. I'm like, oh, hi, Ann.
It was so funny. The chat blew up. Everyone was like, oh.
Yeah. So, Ann's pretty busy. So she took some time to come and launch her book to us personally, which was really nice.
Yeah, so I'm excited to tell you about this. It comes out the 1st of August. You know her, you love her. I'm seeing some woo in the chat. So this is another Anne novel about, family dynamics and, growing up and love, and it is nothing short of amazing. So we have 3 sisters, Emily, Nell, and Maisie, return to live with their mother on her orchard in northern Michigan in the spring of 2020. So this is a pandemic book, but it's far beyond that. So don't be like shutting yourself off to it. And she really delivers this gorgeous novel. And so these 3 sisters move back home, and Laura, their mother, tells them this story that she has of, a romance years earlier with a famous actor named Peter Duke, who performed at Tom Lake, a theater company that she was a part of. So you have the story like bouncing back and forth between Laura's retelling of her like 1980s summer love romance and the sisters kind of like poking at their mom for answers and having their own like observations. And I actually think this is a really good end of summer read because you can, you know, immerse yourself in the nostalgia for this distant summer, and like, and just does such a good job at like transporting you back in time and then bringing you back in a really like skillful way. So for the girls, like hearing the story of their mother's life before them begins to like stir up some feelings and thoughts about their own lives and, you know, their relationship to their mom and what their mom was like before they even existed, which is something I think about a lot too. Like, who is my mom before she was my mom? And Anne's narrative is so compelling and introspective, and I'm really excited for all of you to read this one. This e-galley is not available yet, but we will tell you as soon as it is. So keep an eye out on our catalogs, and I'm sure that you will enjoy this one. Okay, so that one again, August 1st.
Yeah, you have a little bit of time for that one, but
Yeah.
I wanted to get it out early and often because we just heard about it ourselves.
Yeah, very exciting. I love the cover of this next one. I can't shut up about it. It is so pretty.
Yeah, it really like brings you there of like, oh, I know exactly what this
Yep.
is about.
Mm-hmm.
I actually went by Tiffany's because they always have their Christmas lights out from the 20s, and they didn't have them this year because of construction, and I was really disappointed.
Horrible
So
news. Oh my god.
Tiffany, this is Tiffany's. I want a response. Where's the lights? Alrighty, so the Tiffany Girls by Shelley Noble. So you may know bestselling author Shelley from her contemporary fiction or historical mysteries, but this one's different for her. It's the real life Tiffany Girls, which were 30 artisans responsible for one of the most famous glassworks in the world, the Tiffany lights or other glass that they did. And this will, I wrote this in my notes and I'm so proud of it, but it's so cheesy. I said, hopefully we can shine a light on these women. But it starts in 1899 Manhattan. You have Louis Comfort Tiffany, who was famous for his stained glass windows. And he is planning a really different kind of installation at the Paris World's Fair, the largest in history. And you see that kind of taking place, but also the artists of the women's division of the Tiffany Glass Company. They're already working way longer than they need to be to put these hours in and get this all done before the World's Fair. But he really wants this to prove that he is the world's finest artisan in glass. And these Tiffany girls are women, they're the women responsible for much of the design and construction of this glass work. But they don't really receive a lot of the credit. 3 women are featured in this book specifically. We have a daughter of an art forger who is told to, kind of shunned in the Paris society. She forges a letter of recommendation for a fresh start. We also have a glass cutter who is living a double life as a political cartoonist under a pseudonym G.L. Griffith. No one knows that she's a woman. And the manager of the women's division is the 3rd woman we see, and she's in charge of keeping within budget and on time and making sure the girls, they become really increasingly hard to wrangle, but that's her job. And then they're brought together just as this group of women, but they all desire to be artists in one of the only ways that are acceptable for women to be artists in this time. And they kind of break this glass ceiling of their era and for working women in generations to come. And it's really great for book clubs because of the strong female characters, the untold history, but also there's a PS section, so it's going to have questions. And it's just great to find out more about different kinds of history, especially strong women in history is one of my favorite subsets in historical fiction. So that comes out in May.
Yeah, just that cover, I love it so much. I wish I had that stained glass like in my room somewhere.
Yeah. Me too. I'll take a Tiffany lamp any day.
I know. So those are all the books we have to share with you. Saw a lot of excitement in the chat for Ann Patchett. Casey Davis said, so funny that my daughter does not believe I had a life before her. I think about that a lot.
We also, I asked about like books giving for Christmas. The hero of this book came up, but also The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse. And I just wanted to shout out that there is a new version coming out December 6th, so very soon. It's going to be a movie, a film, at the Christmas season. Off the top of my head, I don't know exactly when, but the Christmas season. And this one is how 100 animators came across 2 years of production to bring this sweet book to life, which it's so sweet. I had it with me and my mom was like, this is my favorite book. You know, like anytime anyone reads it, they just fall in love with it. But it kind of tells the story of how the book turned into this movie with all of the different animations. It's going to be on Apple TV. So get just an FYI if you want the beauty to continue. That's a beautiful book. Yeah, so that is all of our books. One other reminder, if you want more books, we have the Alma Buzz tomorrow at 11:30. I'm going to put that link to register in our group. Okay, so Davis loves Apple TV. Okay, good. Well, you can watch the new movie when it comes out. I'm very excited. You have to tell us what you think. Alma Buzz. Here's the link. Tomorrow at 11:30. It's multi-publisher buzz. We only have, I think, 5 minutes each, but you'll hear about a couple more books from all the publishers. Great for your book giving, buying.
I'm going to throw in the link to the catalog on Edelweiss with the books we just talked about. That way, if you come back to this and you're like, oh, that new Ann Patchett is the eGalley app, you can just check that way too.
Yeah, maybe when we get off here, we could add like the other couple that we talked about, just so they have a full list. Like I know we talked about some gifty books, maybe. That'd be great.
Sounds
Yeah,
good.
and then that'll help you with your purchasing / eGalley reading. Don't forget Alvin Hall next Thursday, different day, same time. We're going to talk about Driving the Green Book. That one's going to be very rich in photos and historical information, so don't miss it. Anything else I'm forgetting, Grace?
I don't think so. I think that might be all we have for you today, unless anybody has like final questions. Will the Alma Buzz be recorded, Lainey?
I believe so. I will double check that, but I think so. If you get if you register for it and it's recorded, then hopefully they will. Yeah. Let me double check. Let me see if I can.
While Lainey is looking for
access links in the. I don't know for sure, but that's a good question. I will ask, and if they're not recording it, I will see if they will record it, and maybe it'll go up on the Alma YouTube channel if so. So just check back for, once you sign up for the Buzz, we get those emails, and sometimes we send out stuff. So you should find out any recordings from that if you RSVP.
Before we were live, Lainey and I were talking TV shows, which is definitely why I slipped up with that Netflix NetGalley thing. As soon as I said it, I was like, it was our TV show talk. That's what did it.
Yeah, if you have any good TV shows, we're looking for recommendations.
Yeah, no, I'm in the market for a new show. Ooh, a fun question. If you have any holiday movies that you watch, like building up to Christmas, I would also love to know.
Yeah, and we're building our list for our February 14th Buzz, which RCP link is in there. So make sure you sign up through Library Journal. But we're building that list. So if there's something that we can help you, like if there's a format you like or a genre that you think we need more of, write to us. We're here to help you. Whatever that list looks like is what we're doing to help you. So we want to make sure we're giving you what you need. And that will be recorded. I do know that one will be recorded. Yeah, so sign up for all of the links. Casey Day. Oh, Wednesday. I do want to watch Wednesday. Yeah, that looks good. Jenna
Trying to-
Ortega's nice.
Trying to think. I just had a thought and then I went away.
That happens to me all the time.
Oh, and also with our like changes coming this year, if you want to see more or less of something, also let us know. Feedback from you helps us make everything better.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, I think we're going to end a little bit early, give you some time back. You have lots of reading to do because we gave you a lot to think about. But as always, we're always here for you. Send us an email, librarylovefest@harpercollins.com. And otherwise, we will see you on December 8th at 2 p.m. with Alvin Hall, author of Driving the Green Book.
Thanks all. Bye.
Bye. Happy holidays, everybody. Cookbooks and cooking. Thank you, Casey Davis.
Oh, we also got audiobooks.
Audiobooks. Yeah,
Mhm.
we got you. All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.